Amin. Laminecha Adei hon halchin.
Amazing.
So with the rhythm, the person who is being healed is thrown into the sea of the rhythm, and as the rhythm alters with the chant and the ancient words, something begins to shift in here as well.
I have to admit that the vibration came through my hand into my entire body. It was just amazing. And as much I felt tired to holding the microphone in a position where I kind of like, oh my God, it didn't mean anything because the body overcame that with the help of the vibration. It was amazing. And I have to tell you, it's wonderful that you bring this ancient, so much of a teaching, 25 years. I mean, huge work, and you bring this together and you practice it and teaching it, bring it to the people and help them to heal practically as well and know about it. And somehow reminds me, this presentation, what we got, thank you for it. It was wonderful. It reminds me there is a connection again to many other things we can hear. I go to the Indians in Africa, other sounds, other rhythms, other tones, South America. It's all we are. A unity is here somewhere, is a connection, so we can do it so many different ways, and we find the vibration and the healing, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. So how did you get connected to all this? When did the turning point? How did it came 25 years ago, I assume?
Well, I was living the traditional Orthodox Jewish lifestyle in which I was raised, and for which I am thankful, because that's where I learned how to read all the texts, although we weren't taught all these texts, but they gave me the tools to read the Hebrew and the Aramaic. And at some point in my life, I just realized that there is so much in the ancient teachings that has to do with lots of things outside of Brooklyn. And that had to do with the mountains, with the hills, with the valleys, with places that have no religious label to it, and with human beings other than myself, other than my people. And so I began to explore that. I began to focus more on those kinds of teachings in the Talmud about the raven, about the jackal, about the antelope, about deer, about the spirit of animals, about how when you hear a bird flying overhead, it's the sound of the flapping of its wings. It's the spirit of the bird communicating to you in that moment, and how you should take that sound in. And so there are so many of these teachings that were just grabbing me, and I just actually moved out of the city back then and into the mountains, and lived in the mountains to this day, practically, except now I live in Thousand Oaks, but I'm hoping one day to become that Ed McMahon will show up with $10 million checks so I can buy some land in the Santa Monica Mountains. If you hear that, Ed, please, my address will be So living that life, living in the wilderness for the last 25 years, got me more and more in touch with those particular teachings, as opposed to how to keep kosher, how to keep the Sabbath, how to keep, and how to be kept by the religious. Right. I began to really study more of the other teachings that are not really promulgated, not really taught, because we, as a people, we lived on the land for thousands of years. But then we got kicked out and thrown into ghettos and cities, and we lost that part of our tradition. So I recovered it for myself, and in the process met many fellow Jewish people who were looking for the same thing in all the other cultures that still have it, like Native America and African shamanism and South American shamanism. And so as I wrote this book to put it all together with the sources where you can find it in the Jewish tradition, and how beautiful it is that there are, as you said, many similarities. When you go to the older ways of any ancient people, you will find that they sing the same, they drum the same, they think the same, they see the world the same, they have the similar creation stories as well. When the early explorers to the Americas from Europe came to discover the New World, the so-called New World, they wrote back chronicles about how they discovered these savages living here. And then they wrote back how similar the ways of these savages were to the ways of the Jews. And there's a great book called The Savage in Judaism, where Professor Howard Eilberg Schwartz put together all these, he translated all these chronicles from the 16th century, 17th century, showing how the early explorers were baffled by the similarities of rituals and chants and ceremonies. I mean, every autumn we take palm branches with willow and myrtle, and we shake it to the four directions and to the sky and to the earth. Most Jews today who do this don't understand what they're doing. But if you study the ancient sources, it was to bring good winds for the winter time so that good things will grow by spring. It was a very agronomic, very earth-based tradition. And we lost so much of it, but thank God we wrote a lot of it down. So that's what I've been studying, that's what I've been teaching.
So practically you helping the Jewish people to reconnect and teaching them the really origin of their being, and not just the religious part, but also their deeper way back teachings. It's excellent. It's an incredible journey that you have done in the 25 years, and congratulations to all this life work that you put out there, and I wish you for the future that you keep good health and keep good work and put out more of this, because it's wonderful, and I think we all should connect more. Thank you again so much for taking your precious time coming to us, and to our small team here who was applauding you, very excited about your presentation. We really loved it, and wish you all the best, and thank you again for coming. It was an honor to have you here.
Thank you.